Well, hello everyone. We are going to do a walkthrough of the D&D Celebration puzzles. I am recording this on the last day, from what I hear, that you can do this. So this will be a way to kind of capture into posterity what this was like. Some of the puzzles are kind of cool and maybe could be fuel for your role-playing games. Or maybe you're just curious what this event was like and you want to see it. You lacked the time to do it and before the event ended. This will all give you a way to do that. And or maybe you just want to think back on what it was like and you did actually do it, in which case congratulations. So what is this all about? The Wild Beyond the Witchlight is the latest adventure from Dungeons & Dragons for 5th edition. It just came out this week. It's a lot of fun. I've been reading it and enjoying every word. We're going to be doing a lot about this. I'm going to be, along with my partner, Sean Merwin, we're going to be interviewing the folks who helped write this book on an upcoming episode of the Mastering Dungeons podcast. So look for that at Mastering D&D on Twitter. We also are involved in all kinds of fun interactions with all the fine folks who worked on this adventure and who worked on different aspects of it. There are all kinds of auxiliary products. So we're covering that in our news on the podcast. And there are new releases through the Dungeon Craft program on the DM's Guild that you can find. So there's a lot of excitement going on. And let's go ahead and take a look, zero in on what we're going to do, which is we're going to visit the actual website. So hi, everybody. I'm going to take a look at this map and travel along with you to review what it is that we were provided with in this event. We are brought straight into, when we go to the event map section of the D&D Celebration website, which is dndcelebration.com, we are brought straight into the map of the Witchlight Carnival, which is one of the locations you visit in the adventure. There are some thematic spoilers here, so if you really are a purist and you want to play and never have had any contact, then this stream is not for you, because this D&D Celebration event does have what one could consider spoilers to various locations that you'll explore as a character. So that is up to you if you really want to avoid all the spoilers. It's been nice seeing you. For Dungeon Masters, this will actually provide some nice prep as to what is taking place. So it's kind of the opposite. This is actually a really good way to get acquainted with what the adventure has. This actual image, this map, appears in the adventure. And all these events are, most of these events are events, I think maybe even all of them are from the adventure. And if not faithfully reproduced, it's all very close. I can think of a couple of changes. So there are a variety of things we can do by clicking on this map. We can also zoom in if we want to. Some of the things are just kind of fun, like we can look at the Feasting Orchard, and there's a menu that we can click on to open, and we actually can download a recipe for hand pies, or for toffee apples, or cockatrice wings. So that's a very fun idea there. So that's just neat. You don't have to do anything. You can just click and enjoy those recipes. If you're curious about the kind of, what they look like, let me open this in a new tab and we can look at this here. So, here's a recipe for twice baked cockatrice wings. Very fun. So in addition to those, you can play a little game of Guess the Feathers on the Cockatrice. This game is really kind of very quickly. You have to figure out this number and enter in this many seconds how many there are. And so, you can take a stab at it, 27 or something like that. And it was 31. It's not the kind of thing I'm going to do on a stream, but what you do as a result of winning it is you got a wallpaper. And there are a couple of different wallpapers that come from this event. That's the only one where you have to play a game to get it. You can go to the Dragonfly rides, and here you go straight to a little bit of lore about what the Dragonfly rides are like, and you also can go straight in and see what this wallpaper is like, and looks really pretty. You can save that, use that, and it comes in various different sizes. So that's kind of nice. You have those kinds of events. We have some places that just give lore, a couple of those. There's also a wallpaper in the Pixie Kingdom area. Very cool. Very pretty. And there's a Sirenscape trial if you go to the Calliope section. You can go and get a free trial, your first month for free, cancel anytime. Nice way to try that out. And then the snail racing has a way to donate for, you can pick a snail to back and donate for the Extra Life program, which is an excellent program helping kids' hospitals. One other fun area is this Hall of Illusions. So if we click on the Hall of Illusions, we sort of see this image, and it may not look like it, but we can click and transport ourselves to the domain of Prismeer. And here we can see various elements of lore. Again, spoilers for those who don't want to see them, but a couple of them actually have some neat things. So we can click on Loom Lurch and go to this preview, and if we take a look at this, we get the preview for Fizban's Treasury of Dragons Metallic Dragonborn rules. And we've actually heard through the Adventures League that it is valid if you get this certificate. And you can see the site here, so I don't know how long this will be up here if you want to travel it directly. But if you have these rules, you can use these to make a Metallic Dragonborn and play them in Adventures League even this very weekend for the preview events. So that's kind of neat. These are pretty similar to the version that we saw when we saw them in Unearthed Arcana, but revamped with the final version. Some neat kind of cones here, pushing, I think that's slightly different from what we saw. Very cool. So yes, Loom Lurch is one of those locations. We can also go to Slanty Tower, and here is another preview. This preview is for the Drake Warden Ranger. Again, this is valid. It's a 3-page piece, and so we can learn all about what it's like to have this Drake companion, and we have all the features we need to play this class right now. Super, super cool. So that was Slanty Tower. We can also go to Telemy Hill to get some wallpaper. And this is, I think, a pretty neat wallpaper. Yeah, it's this red dragon that's all burning with lava. One of those, I forget the exact name, but one of the epic dragons, the new really incredible dragons that they have there. And Palace of Heart's Desire, very important. That's another of the previews, the third and last preview in this section, Moonstone Dragons. I don't know that this worked the very first day when I looked at it, so it's possibly could have missed it. We get information on Moonstone Dragon's lair actions, and the statistics for the huge Moonstone Dragon. Some regional effects that come from that. Really neat. So that is superb. I'm really looking forward to that book. Once you have done exploring all of these sections, you can come back to the main area, and sort of takes zooming in and out to get back to where we want. All right, let's talk about the puzzles. That's what we really wanted to make sure to preserve. You can go to the ticket booth, and it tells you that you have the Witchlight Puzzle Challenge. And we get some information here. These two characters, Mr. Light and Mr. Witch, are going back and forth and saying, hey, let's do this crowning of who is the monarch of the Witchlight crown. Solve all 6 feats. You'll have an opportunity to win a replica crown, but you need all 6 challenge answers for that. So we know we must solve all 6. And it says, hey, go find the ways to do it. So we're going to go in order because each of these is tied to an ability. And I've got my notes here ready. So let's say we want to do strength. All right, so we're going to go to the mystery mine down here at the bottom. And clicking on it, we get an invitation of we get a description of what this place is like, these mine carts. This is actually just like the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. I super love it. And when we hit play, we get this interesting display. And we get some walkthrough of what's happening. And basically the idea is we are climbing up this wall, and Burley the Bugbear throws a bunch of pythons, 6 heavy pythons, down on the ground and tells us, climb up the shaft using exactly 12 spaces on the wall, placing one of your 6 pythons in every even-numbered hole as you ascend. Your head might already hurt. Let me just say, this is one of the easier puzzles, so strap in, my friends. Each space you climb must be directly above or next to the last, and your pythons must take you from the bottom to the very top. And then he gives you a warning. Find the name of your prize with a spike every 2. If a later repeats, then you must start anew. letter repeats. So this is really key, the letter repeating. What I found is the easiest way to do is to do something like take your snipping tool and capture this as an image and draw on it. That's what I found worked best for me. And what I was doing is following the rules where you go, you can either go to the side or you can go up, right, from wherever your starting point is. And you can't repeat letters. So if you start going, M, P, S, O, P, that's not going to work, right? So, all right, that doesn't, maybe I go up this way. You do that enough, and what I would do is I would sort of just draw little circles every now and then, every other, so that I would know what I would do. And again, I just did this with clip art to capture the image and draw on it. With the clip it tool, I should say, the snipping tool, that's it. So what I did here, what we can do is we can start at the A, and we go up here, which means that every other we put in a Python. So now the Python is in the S. So our first letter is S. We come over here, go up to the P. Now our second letter is P. We go over back to the C. So we've gone, up, doop. Then we go to the I. And so far we have SPI. And some of you may kind of realize, well, SPI, that's starting to kind of maybe spell something. So every other S, OP, SP, SPI. We can get the D here. We come across the N, the E. Now we're at spider, and we go up and end on R. And that gives us the word spider, plus it fulfills the requirement that we didn't hit any letter more than once, and we went either up or sideways. Now, what happens with all of these puzzles is you get to declare your answer here. So we're going to write spider, and we're going to hit check. Congratulations, and this is kind of fun. You get a Adventurers League certificate. We're also asked whether we're ready to go to the final puzzle, which we're not, but let's take a look at that certificate. You get a cuddly spider. It's a fuzzy toy spider, magically sticks to any surface you place it on, using a bonus action and a command word. It can be removed by using a bonus action to touch it and utter the command word again. I'm not entirely sure how one uses this, but it's cute and fun, so you can't go wrong. And these are event awards under the new event awards award rules that you can find on the D&D Yawning Portal blog talking about Adventures League. So check that out if you're not sure about the new rules. But that's great. You get to use it with your characters, and it's not just a single character. So back to it. We solved strength. We can hit the X's, get back to the map. And our next one is going to be dexterity. For that, we go to the gondola swans. And again, it doesn't matter what order you do this in. You just have to do all 6. We're told what this looks like. It's all really beautiful. These huge swans taking us around. And for the feat of dexterity, we have this very interesting puzzle. We get up top this code, which tells us what each of these symbols represents. And we have boats. And we're told that Dear Legrand, the displacer beast, is taking care of children. To do this, has placed them in boats and got them to be balanced. That's a real key thing. And if you see, there's a center line in each of these boats. The idea is that these weights are equivalent. We are kind of told something that is a bit of a silliness around how Durlegrand, which is the displacer beast, weighs things in terms of kittens. And that's just a way to say that we're not using pounds or some exact value. We're using units. We're told that a pixie weighs 1 kitten, and there are no pixies here, but that's just an example. So this is sort of like a mathematical equation that we're going to do, where we know that, an E, an elf, must equal a G, a gnome, plus a D, a dwarf. And if you set these all up, E equals G plus D, H plus G equals 3 times D, these sort of mathematical equations, you can start to solve for them. What I did was throw this into Excel or Google Sheets, some sort of spreadsheet program, so that I kind of had equations set up, and then I just plunked in numbers, assuming that I had to start with something bigger than 2, and that my human is the heaviest, and so I just sort of made some guesses at it. Before you know it, it all started to work out to where I knew what the numbers were. A human is equal to 9 kittens, or whatever our abstract unit is. An elf is 7, a gnome is 3, and a dwarf is 4. That will cause all of these equations to equate, and thus we know those are correct values. Now what we're told is, to make sure she's accounting correctly, Durlagon counts into the letters of the phrase gondola swans with the correct weight for each race in the order shown at the top: human, elf, gnome, dwarf. So if you do that, then you are revealed your prize. So what we do is we take those numbers we had. So for example, and we do it in order. So human, the answer that we got for human by doing these equations is that the human weighs 9 kittens, or 9 units. So if we go to this phrase, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we get a W. Now we take the elf, which is 7. When we count at 7, we're going to get an A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we do gnome, which is 3, we get an N, and with dwarf is 4, we get a D. That gives us, put together, wand in the order that was above. Hopefully this all makes sense. We click on wand, and huzzah, we have managed to get our award here. In this case, it is a wand of verdant vitality. It's also neat because this is also like if you don't have the adventure, preview to magic items that are there. So this wand has 3 charges. You can use an action to expend one of its charges to target one plant. It becomes lush as in full bloom. It's very minor magic, but a lot of fun. Regains all expended charges at dawn. If you expend the last charge, roll a d20, and it becomes into a swarm of stick bugs and is destroyed. Kind of. Again, you get to use that for your characters. We're not ready for the last one, so let's do our next puzzle. So we did dexterity, so now constitution. For constitution, we are going to go to the teapot area, bubble top teapot. And here, the feat of constitution, this is a process of elimination. We get this tableau of letters underneath teapots. The teapots are of different colors, and they have a imprint of the same color. And Thaco the Clown tells us that goblins have poisoned some of the teapots. Some teapots don't have any tea at all. So you have to find the ones that have tea and aren't poisoned. And the goblins, apparently being the way they are, left us rhymes to resolve these, because these are fey goblins, not just evil goblins. They're being more tricksy than they are evil. So it tells us, for example, drink from dragons, not serpents. So we're like, oh, okay. So cross off all the serpents. Great. But with the dragons, it says no worms of red. So when we look back up here at which ones have dragons, we can see, for example, this is a red worm, a red dragon. So that one is not safe, and we can cross it out. This is, again, a case where I like to capture this and have it be something that you can add and look at. In fact, I'll show you. I'm going to add right now the item that I got. It's going to take me a second to find where I placed it here. So you can see there, this is sort of what looked mine. And I actually wasn't able to fully get this, but I messed up with something, or there's some logic that's sort of contradictory. But I was able to get enough of them to guess the answer. So I could get a K and a C and an A. And through all of that, I was able to discern that, well, the solution to this is cask. And when I put cask in here, after my process of elimination, we get another certificate. And when uncorked, the small cask of wine plays fine calibre music, and you can fill up to 2 water skins magically refills at dusk. Cool. All right, so we have got the Constitution puzzle solved. Our next puzzle is Intelligence, and this one was by far the hardest. It probably doesn't sound so bad describing it, perhaps, but this one, it made my brain melt. For it, we go to Lost Property. We play. We see a watch face. We see items in the Lost Property area. We see these interesting wheels. And we get the following text. The Kenku Warlock Kettle Stream shakes his feathered head. Our Mr. Witch has lost his witchlight watch. It controls all of the carts in the carnival. I know it's wound up in the lost property cart among all other lost items. Unfortunately, it's stuck at a specific time. The only way to get it started again is to speak a special password. To help divine it, you need to figure out what all the lost property items have in common. That's our first key, what they all have in common. And watch for the ones that matter. I have summoned 9 mystical shades that can cover the letters in the word circle. Each mystical shade you use will lead to exactly one word. That way you can discover the item whose name he uses as a password. Then I'll reward you with that item as a prize. This is one that I found supremely hard. I went down a number of possible paths as I was looking at how this might be done. I thought, well, maybe I have to solve this. Like, what's a noxious fish? I don't know, is it a puffer fish, a bronze vase? Are we looking for urn? And then I thought maybe I have to like word scramble these different wheels. And along it, you also kind of see that these move. So there are a lot of, and there are many combinations, and they show different letters whenever you move them. So I started doing all kinds of things to try to figure out what this might be. So this one causes a lot of pain. Here's how to actually do it. The first part of this, the first step is in realizing that these hands are showing us something. They are indicating specific areas, XII, XVII. You might be tempted to turn those into numbers. No, that throws it off, though it's a good thought, but you're like, well, 12, no, nothing goes above that, nothing goes above 9. What it is we can look at these and see that some of these have X, I. This has a V. So we can start looking at, well, can we get what the watch has? The watch has XII. Noxious fish does that. VII, we can actually get out of Vision Stone, VII. And then the X, appearing just by itself, we can find in Beeswax Bar. Okay, so now we know that 1, 5, and 9 are the items that have something in common, though it's really with the watch, not with each other, which is, I was thinking all these things look like maybe this could be a moon, or, oh, yeah. I went through a lot of brain meltdown on this. So eventually, if and when we realize that this is what the puzzle is telling us, we can go and play with those specific wheels, 1, 5, and 9. So the good thing about this is that these actually read in order. They're not word scrambles, which was what I thought, and I spent a lot of time sort of trying to word scramble. If you click these around, you will eventually get words, though they may not be together. So SINGLE is our first clue. Go to number 5, and we spin this guy, and this one was really tough. This one... This is it. Glass. And the last one is number 9. This one was the easy one, where it doesn't make much sense for all the other combinations, but when you click in a particular pattern, you'll get the word lens. Here we go, lens. So now we take these 3. We have single eyeglass lens. And the good news is you probably could have done just 2 of those to probably solve that and take a stab at it. But the answer here, we were told, what item does he use as password? It is monocle, a single eyeglass lens. When we do... did I misspell it? Okay, so we're going to fix this part with the video where I forgot how to spell the word monocle. It happens to the best of us. My mom's an English teacher. Still, every now and then, I'm going to let my mom down and spell monocle with an M-O-N-A. So let's try monocle. Spelled correctly. Yay! That's how it's supposed to work. Yes, indeed. And just so you get to see it, here is what the... or let's open it in another window. Here's what the certificate looks like for that Viridian monocle. So, sorry about that. Yeah, good times. But, all right, so that was monocle. And that was the intelligence test. So next up is wisdom. And for wisdom, we are going to go to the carousel. The carousel location. This one's really tough too. We get a new sound playing, and in this we have to, we're told that it's playing sort of a sound, and then we're told about the oompa, oompa, oompapa, 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 the 3/4 time. In fact, we can get a hint about the time, which kind of throws you off. But the idea is to listen to these and sort of, I think, hear the resounding noise.
Ija. Well, you. Atlas, cedar.
So if you listen to these, you kind of like bija. So, okay, the emphasis is on the B. So it's a B. And the plummet, U. So it's a U. And you kind of write these down. Acacia, K. Elder, L. So as you put these down, for some reason there's a red herring. There's one here that doesn't, it throws you off. This one
Sooth.
is not really helping you, which I think especially if you didn't have audio, I don't know how that would help. But at the end of this, your answer will be, if you take all of these letters that they sound, will be buckler. Now, this one did work. And you get to see your certificate for this buckler of folding. And it tells you all about it, which is kind of cool. I like this one. It's like those games we used to play when we were kids. Very cute. All right, so that was one of the easier ones, I think, with wisdom. Well, one of the easier ones once you really figure what's going on, and you usually have to go through a few. What were they emphasizing? But at least it's straightforward. Listen for the sound, use those into letters, plug it in. Our last of the 6 puzzles, there'll be one at the end, takes us to the Silver Song Lake. This is our charisma challenge. This one I actually liked a lot. So we see these scrolling messages coming through here, and they're just repeating. And we are told down here below, Palasha the mermaid sings out to you from her fish tank. Visitors, I know you cannot hear my beloved Candlefoot speak, but you must sense his feeling of love for me, for me, triumph over mere words. And yet he cannot reach the top of my fish bowl to secure a most deserved kiss. But we have a ladder. If you help us, you will prove your friendship and love in a true act of charisma. Each of these ladders, 4-letter words, has 1 letter changed from the word above it. All right, 4-letter words, each time 1 letter changes. All of the words are clued except the ones on the top and bottom rungs. Those 2 words can unite into a single word, which will be your prize. Sounds a little confusing because, hey, it's a puzzle. But what we do is we write these down and we start solving them. For example, where to house your chickens? That's a coop. What can you do in a cauldron? And so you're thinking, well, I don't know, I toil, I bubble, I boil, cook. So we have coop and cook, and we can already tell those are 1 letter away, so they probably are in a kind of order. There's one that's a stopper for healing potions, say. That's a cork. What do we do to earn some copper? I had to think through that, but we can work. What spell that requires a drop of molasses? The spell is slow. What might you feed a pig? Boy, it's the turnip, radish. It's slop is the answer. Sound of a unicorn that a unicorn's hoof makes is clop. And then if we put them in order, we get slow, slop, clop, coop, cook, cork, and work. And those are the ones, the idea is those are the ones that go in this middle area. So now what we have to do is we have to say, all right, let's take we need a new one that goes at the top. That's the first one, and the new one at the bottom. And we must take those 2 words and mash them together. So our first word was slow. Our last word was work. And again, we did this by solving all of them and then putting them into the right order. So we know that those 2 are the ones on the extremities. So slow, if we change 1 letter, we can get glow, change the S to a G. Work, we can change the K and make it an M for worm, and we get glowworm. And there we go. You've won a flask of glowworms. This is a really kind of neat item. I like this one a lot. Exude color-changing illumination equivalent to a torch. Magically sustains the glowworms, and if you use an action while holding it, you can set the color for 10 minutes. Love it. I want one of those. Man, hey, I got one of those. Woo! So that gives us all of those 6 puzzles. If you managed to do that, congratulations. I certainly felt great. But we know we're not over. Oh, and I actually should have clicked on I'll go back there, because what we want to do is we want to say that we know the last prize. So you have to first go to any one of the prizes and enter in the correct answer. And then you can say, take me to the final puzzle. I think at this point, my brain was so tired. I had quite some trouble with this. Other people were like, oh, I'm so glad the last one was super easy. You know, you never know. It can really depend where your mind is. So we get this picture of all these butterflies. Mr. Witch and Mr. Light are preparing for this evening's crowning of the Witchlight Monarch. Just before the event, a swarm of colorful butterflies create a spectacle of beauty and art in the sky above the carnival, to the delight of all in attendance. What beauty, Mr. Light exclaims to the crowd. Each butterfly a feat of perfection. Capitalization of feat. Earlier, we were told the feats were the 6 things we did. So that's a thing there. Butterflies in 6 glorious colors. Mr. Witch responds, you know you can count on each of your favorites tonight. Don't you folks wish there could be a number of butterflies in all 6 carnival prizes? But of course, there's a 7th prize, Mr. Witch says to all in attendance. There's only one way to get one of our fine replica crowns. Tell us the name of the final puzzle, and it shall be yours. So there's a lot here being hinted at, and you may be already kind of thinking through some of the conclusions quite smartly. But it's also, there's a lot here. We can think of like, well, we're counting. We've got colors. You know, you can see these are the 6 colors up here. We've got the 6 attributes. All right, what to go with? So the first thing that seemed like probably something we should do is counting out these butterflies, which is, you know, a little bit hard because sometimes the colors overlap, and so you have to make sure that you're counting the actual colors. So to do that, you know, you start going. It's like, okay, red, 3. Orange, there are 15 of them. Yellow, there are 2 of them, and so on. So you count them all out. Now, an important part here, and it doesn't really say other than its glorious colors and the sky, but you can sort these in order based on one of 2 things. And one thing that's neat is either one works. The colors of the rainbow, so the whole Roy G. Biv you may know as an acronym. So we can say, okay, red is going to be 3, orange is 15, and so on. Well, it just so happens this also is going to be the order of the attributes. So if you go with strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, this will also work. And, you know, earlier we were told that we must have the answers to the puzzles to solve this. So we know we've got to use those answers to the puzzles in some way. So what we want to do is we want to organize our actual award certificates, the names of the things we got, not just the clue words, because first I tried playing with that, like wand or cask and monocle, buckler, so on. No, we've got to get the certificates and look at those to figure them out. So for example, the first one, whether we do it, well, the first, let's say we're doing it in the order of the rainbow. Red is our first item on a rainbow color. So red is, we're also going to go with the first one, which is strength. So the first item we got was Cuddly Spider. That was the strength item. Remember, we climbed up the wall with the spider, and we got the spider as a item. So if we count out 3 on Cuddly Spider, C-U-D, D becomes our first word. All right, then orange. There are 15 of these, and this is where we have that wand of vitality or whatever. And when we count out enough times, we will get to the letter I. Yellow, we have only 2 of those, and that was cask, so C-A. So A is our letter. And so on. Blue, there are 5 blue butterflies. We count through our clue, which for intelligence was... you know, I did... it's not monocle, because it ends up being D. I have to look at my file and see what it actually ended up being. So we count that out. We will get a D. We will then work on green and wisdom. There are 6 green butterflies. When we count that out, the answer for wisdom was buckler. So that takes us to an E. And then for purple, which is charisma, our last item, we have 15 again. And if we count 15 on the glowworm certificate, we end up with an M. So meanwhile, I'm going to take a look at that certificate for the monocle. It was Viridian Monocle. I forget what the lookup was, but yeah. So when we count these all out, what we'll end up with is a D, an I, an A, a D, an E, and an M, which in order, already in order, we can just read it straight down, is diadem. Diadem, you may know, is sort of a circlet or crown that you wear. And when we get that, we get 2 things. We get a really neat Adventurers League certificate. Very important crown. And when you wear it, creatures that can see you within 60 feet notice your presence, even if you're in a crowd. While wearing the crown, you have disadvantage on stealth checks. So if you want to, be seen, this is exactly what you want to draw attention to yourself. I'm excited to see people use that cleverly. And for a lot of fun, that was for your character. For you, you get to actually get this PDF that you can print out. I've already seen some people online do that. And you can, tape it together and put it around your head and actually wear this crown so that you can show everybody that you were crowned the monarch of the Witchlight Festival. And that's it. That's what this event was all about in terms of the puzzles that were taking place. I thought these puzzles were great. They were hard enough to make me feel some pain, which is always a good sign. And I think lead a lot of people to work together. I was trading messages with a friend, hi Gary, who helped me through this. And I know Gary's very good at puzzles. So we had some fun trading back and some ideas back and forth. I know that in the official Discord for D&D, you can go to a location there, and there's a channel where you could trade hints, and people were using spoiler tags and being very good about kind of giving you a little bit of a hint, and if you really needed the answer, they could give you the answer too. That made it really enjoyable. The other things at this event that were fun were there were lots of streams. You could buy the official t-shirt for the D&D Celebration event, donate to Extra Life. So really nice event, and I thought the puzzle was a great part of this. So I hope you enjoy that. This will be a nice record of, I hope, for those who want to see what happened in this event and how those puzzles work. And maybe you want to use 1 or 2 of those puzzles in your game if you have players that enjoy such things. All right. Enjoy Wild Beyond the Witchlight. I know that I will. And I'll see you next time. If you like what I do here, please consider supporting my work. I write adventures, I write supplements. Recent work includes the rules for collaborative campaign creation, for which you can see the image on the right-hand side. You can get that for free on alphastream.org by signing up for my mailing list. And you will also receive updates for my blog articles. You can also support me by checking out all these other titles I've written. You can find those on thedmsguild.com. A full list of all my creations, from board games to role-playing games, can be found on alphastream.org. Subscribe and you won't miss any updates for my upcoming projects. Thanks so much.